Usually we start a tour just by having everyone who comes in come in and we teach them how to clean our bathroom.
This might be the first time they've heard of it. And then you get somebody on the other end of the scale like Dustin and a couple of others they could teach lean manufacturing and the throughput principles.
Would you rather have to sit there and put same screw in 1,000 times all day? Or would you rather be able to make yourself a jig where now you only have to put that screw in 500 times in a day?
He's the guy with the quote unquote frustrations, and he got to sit there all day and think about the solutions. And now we've got a piece of PVC for under $1.50 maybe.
That really get lean manufacturing, they're the ones that aren't driving it from the top down. They're the ones that are employing the people who do the work to make the improvements and figure out what to change.
Well, today you get to choose your own adventure. See, do you want to talk about firefighting and scrambling and always being reactive? Or do you want to talk about fixing go-backs and rework and waiting on bottlenecks? Welcome to Cabinet Maker Profit System. I'm Dominic Rubino. If you want to talk about being better at firefighting, hang up. This episode is just not for you. However, if you want to solve go-backs and rework and waiting on bottlenecks, then you're going to love my guest today. It's Lukas Holland. Now, some of you will already know Lukas, especially if you order from FastCap. Lukas is over at FastCap. He's worked with Paul Akers for 11 years, and he's gone through every role there from assembly to engineering leadership. He's a hands-on leader. It's not just theory. He's applied lean on the shop floor in inventory, engineering, and culture, and we're going to share those stories with you here today. He's also trained in Japan, visited the Toyota and Lexus plants, and he's got authentic, like real lean insights way beyond textbook stuff. I was at his shop just a couple of weeks ago, and I was blown away at how much lean is part of the culture there. Now, some of you listening are going to say, well, lean's not going to work, Dom. We're a custom shop, and we don't do that kind of thing. Well, you are wrong. I don't know how else to say it and still sound polite, so I'm just going to say it. You're wrong. And I want you to listen today to understand how you can apply efficiency and smoothness and simple systems to your operations. Now, the three big takeaways to watch for in this episode is number one, lean is culture. It's not about speed. Number two, it's about creating a standard and then improve the standard. And number three, make quality and flow visible. If you got any questions, send me a text message. I'll drop my number sometime later here in the show. In the meantime, let's get to Lukas Holland. We'll see you on the other side. Mr. Lukas Holland, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Dominic?
I'm good. I'm glad to be with you.
Really do.
Honestly, I am, because the last time I was with you, you put me to work like as soon as I walked in the shop.
That's what we do.
That's what you do. I think I was cleaning fridges and the sink, and I was next in line to do toilets.
I'm surprised you got out of toilets. That's the most important one.
You know what was interesting is everybody was dying to jump in where they could.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
That's the culture we try to foster here. We try to make everything a fun process. It's all about, having a process so it can be fun, even cleaning the toilet. So.
Even cleaning the toilets. Yeah. So there's a bunch of people listening thinking, what the heck did I just tune into? Is this one of Dom's shows? And here's what they might be asking.
Toilet talk?
Toilet talk. That's a different show altogether. They might be asking, well, who the heck is Lukas Holland, and how is it he comes to be speaking to all these forward-facing contractors, such as cabinet makers and millworkers all over the world? So who are you, man?
Oh, I'm Lukas Holland. I work for Paul Akers at FastCap. I've been here over 11 years now. So I started out actually getting a manufacturing engineering degree at Western Washington University.
Oh, no way.
Basically a degree in lean. Half of it was what are different manufacturing machines, how do we use them? But the entire other half of the degree was all lean, designed for assembly, designed for manufacture, Six Sigma, all that kind of thing. And one of my senior level classes, we actually came to tour FastCap to see a lean company in action. And that's how I found out that there was actually a lean manufacturing job in Bellingham where I wanted to stay because I love hiking, backpacking, skiing, mountain biking. It's all awesome here. So I tried to run faster than everyone else right after we graduated. And, I had in the door first, and I did, and started out here as a low-level worker because I didn't really have a job, but I know I wanted to be here. So I said, put me in, I'll prove myself, I'll work my way up. So I started out just doing assembly, and I've worked through pretty much every job in this company and just kind of taken over, done my best at it, created a new system, and then passed it on to someone else who could be 3 times more successful at it than the person that was doing it before. So I've done that with production. I've done that with inventory. Now I'm in engineering, but I'm kind of in a general oversight position of everything too, as well as just,
Right.
focusing on each individual thing at a time and kind of creating processes, fixing systems, and making everything run smoother and be more fun to do, like we said about the bathroom.
It was fun. You know what the funnest thing was, if I can, the bathroom. Yeah, yeah. And listen, I was ready to do it. I mean, we came for a tour, which Dustin, we won't use his last name, but Dustin was there for a tour. He'd come up from Dallas to do his tour, and I was close enough to drive up to the shop and meet you guys and him. And the tour starts. Well, why don't you tell me how a tour starts?
The tour starts usually I think you guys were a big group, so it was a little bit
like 12 of us, I think.
Split up to the different places, but usually we start a tour just by having everyone who come in, and we teach them how to clean our bathroom. And that's the first thing they do when they walk into FastCap, and we put everyone on bathroom cleaning,
which is great. Yeah,
it's the first thing we do with all of our new employees too. And I guess we're a little bit different in how we hire at FastCap. We don't just like take your resume and do an interview and then say you're hired or you're not hired. We actually make them come work a test day, and that gives us an opportunity to really see who they are as a person and how they work. You learn a lot more out of watching someone work for a whole day than you do reading a
resume. Yeah, right. Their Chat GPT resume.
Huh?
Their Chat GPT resume.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first thing, if you want a job here, that you have to do is the same as people who want to come for a tour. First thing you walk in, your first day at work, you are cleaning the bathroom.
Yeah.
And that's where we start doing lean manufacturing at FastCap, because lean isn't just about like taking individual processes that you have and figuring out how to cut time on them. Lean is really about a culture. And so to get people into the culture, that's the first thing they have to do, is they have to learn our process to clean a bathroom, come in and clean the bathroom. And then, they'll work all day. At the end of the day, we get to judge if we liked them, and they also get to judge if they liked us, because culture being the most important thing. Like, if they don't feel like they felt like they fit in or got along with everybody all day, like, we don't want them to want the job either,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, it was amazing. I'm bought into lean. A lot of people aren't. We should probably talk about that for a second.
Sure.
But what was interesting to me is that we came in there, I thought we were going to do a tour of Paul Akers' shop. I got to meet you and some of your other key players who were the leaders for us for the day while you guys were trying to work, by the way.
Yep.
We were aware of that. But you had this, and I'd like everybody to understand this. This is normal, everyday stuff that goes on at FastCap, which is really, it's one of the hotspots of lean manufacturing, or the Toyota way, or shop efficiency, throughput efficiency in North America. We got to tour your shop. It was so cool. What are some of the stations that, it wasn't just toilets, because I did kitchens, I did fridge, but I didn't see what other people were doing.
Yeah, morning, we have a chore chart. So everyone who has a chore, they do it for the whole week that they're on the tour. And the chores are kitchen, bathrooms, emptying the cardboard, sweeping the floor, doing the floor cleaner, so riding, washing cleaner. And then we have box restocking and cleaning the upstairs gym area and the outsides of our doors. Because we, as a culture thing, we really want people to take care of the building. And so the doors is one of those things where, like, we're just teaching people to take ownership of everything and kind of really be part of our culture, which is a family, right?
Yeah, I cannot wait to get to this part of our conversation where my observation of people taking ownership was another level altogether. You have that gentleman from Central Europe who's a veterinarian, who owns, who did not train to run the machine he's on. He's a veterinarian, and man, that guy owns that piece of equipment with pride. We'll come to him in a couple minutes, I'm sure. Can we back up though, because listening, everybody listening is the owner of a shop, whether it's millwork or closets or cabinets, and some people even make wood play furniture. There's all sorts of stuff. But the scope, some people don't get lean at all. This might be the first time they've heard of it. And then you get somebody on the other end of the scale like Dustin and a couple of others they could teach lean manufacturing and the throughput principles. Can you give us just a very high level overview on what is lean manufacturing really defined as?
Generally, people will define lean manufacturing as the elimination of 8 different types of waste. So those are overprocessing, transportation, inventory, defects, and then overproduction and wasted motion, wasted potential, and customers waiting, both internal and external.
Right.
And so most people would define it as eliminating those 8 wastes. And each one of those creates, a lot of different wastes in different ways. And we could go into the details of that. But having worked for Paul for over 10 years, he's actually taken me to Japan 3 times, and I've toured Toyota.
Oh, you have?
Flyers,
okay.
Lexus. Yeah. And what I learned in Japan is very different than what I learned in school about lean manufacturing, and it just being about cutting time and cutting waste, and what I learned from Toyota and Lexus. Yeah.
That's such a great point, because one of the feedback pieces I hear, the first feedback piece I hear is, Dom, you don't understand. We're a custom shop. We don't do lean manufacturing. But that's the owners. When I talk to people working the floor, the feedback, the immediate guts feedback is, you just want me to work harder. You're just trying to whip me more.
No, it's backwards.
Please explain that, because that's not what it's about.
The point is really creating a culture where everybody gets to take ownership of their own processes and gets to work less hard and get the same amount done. And would you rather have to sit there and put spin screw in 1,000 times all day? Or would you rather be able to make yourself a jig where now you only have to put that screw in 500 times in a day?
Yeah.
Come on. It's about making the job easier for the people doing it. And the people that really get lean manufacturing, they're the ones that aren't driving it from the top down. They're the ones that are employing the people who do the work to make the improvements and figure out what to change.
Right.
What we're saying on lean is fix what bugs you. And it has to be the person doing the work who gets bugged about doing the work who can make the fix, right? So I've seen tons of companies who, claim that they're a lean manufacturer and are doing lean. And when you walk in, they have, some office hidden upstairs, maybe not even any windows out to the shop, and they have their lean team. And the lean team goes through and figures out we should move this machine here and move these boxes here. And, they figure it all out on paper like we were taught to do in college. And then they go out to the shop floor, they change all the stuff, and the dude running the machine's like, this is horrible.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
Hey,
I want to tell you a story about a lighthouse and a ship on the high seas. And of course, you're the captain of the ship, right? Ships don't need a captain at the wheel every second of the day. What they really need is a light to guide them safely home. And that's the role of a foreman in your shop. It's a steady guide. Now, the problem is most foremen were promoted for their skill on the tools, not their leadership. And on top of that, until now, there's really never been a way to train foremen on leadership skills. Well, Foreman 101 fixes that. Join my free information call. I need the owner and the foreman there together, and I'll show you the actual class agenda. Get on the wait list for the next free information session. Just text me at 206-208-7581 and say, Foreman Training, and we'll get you on the list. I'd like to talk about visual cues and some of the systems for lean, but let's do this first, because I asked that question from the perspective of a guy on the floor, person on the floor, who says, you just want to put lean in so you can make me work harder. And you and I both debunked that right away. It's not about working harder. It's actually about, we're trying to find the simplest systems so that everything moves very smooth and you actually work less. If you were to look at FastCap, or you were to look at Dustin's shop and many others, it doesn't look like anything's happening. It's actually frustrating when you don't understand lean to look at a shop, right? Look at your face. When you look at a shop that's truly running on lean principles, you look around, you're like, is anybody here? Is anything being built? And yet it's that continuous flow that never stops.
Yeah. And, the other thing I'd say about it too, to talking to the people on the shop floor who think it's about making them work harder and getting more out, is it's actually about letting you be a problem solver. And that actually gets really fun. When you start trying to build something and tinker with something and, you're working with your coworkers to try to create something, you're going to fail 20 times, but you end up laughing your head off, all day, just trying to figure out how to solve this problem. It's a lot more fun than sitting there and assembling something over and over again.
Over and over. So I think maybe now, before we go to the owner question, who says we don't need to do lean because we're custom, let's go to that gentleman, the veterinarian. We're not going to use his names. We're not going to talk about the machine. Both of those things are irrelevant. But let me tell you what I saw as an owner, as a CEO. I saw a guy completely owning his work cell with the highest level of pride And he didn't train to use that work cell. He's a veterinarian from a Central European country who came over and iterations, like tried and tried and tried, came up with little tiny changes to make his work cell better. And the solution he's currently on, because I know he's not done, is so simple. Tell me from your perspective what the evolution of that particular work cell looked like.
I mean, it looked like the evolution of most of our cells, really. It's one little step at a time. And I guess Paul has this great analogy he speaks to, which is the mountain analogy. So when you first get the machine, you're first setting up the work cell. It's like you're standing down here by the ocean, right? And right now, he's way up on a mountain peak. But you know how mountains form? They're kind of like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right?
Right.
So when you're standing on the ocean floor looking up, you can't see the high peak of Everest way in the back. You can only see that first little hill that you have to climb. And when you get up to the top of that peak, then you can look out and you can see a higher peak. And so that's kind of how the evolution of any machine, any workstation goes, is you just, as you're doing the work, you figure out right now, what is the biggest issue that needs solving that bothers me? Right. And you make a small improvement to fix that one thing. And then once that's not bothering you anymore, now you can see something else that's bothering you that before the first thing was just such a big interruption, you couldn't even get there.
Yeah. Without giving anything, the visual is not going to help. But I'd like everybody to think of like a Mazda Miata on its side. That's the size of this machine. This guy walks up and down a gantry through the middle of it. And it's a very specialized piece of machinery, but he has to clean it every time he changes colors in the tank. Mm-hmm. And talking to him first, the amount of pride between him and, by the way, everybody in your shop, I'm just pointing him out as I hope they're all listening to the show, but so I don't want them to think that theirs isn't just as relevant. But the amount of thinking and changes he went through is incredible. But the solution he has now to save, I think off the top of my head, it's about 3 hours worth of cleaning, has to be, I'm going to round up like 95 cents worth of PVC.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But that's what happens when you give ownership. And so again, we don't want people to work harder. He gets to work smarter because, to your point, he's the guy on the machine. He's the guy with the quote unquote frustrations. And he got to sit there all day and think about the solutions. And now we've got a piece of PVC for under $1.50 maybe.
Well, and as you noted, like, he loved showing it off because he came up with the solution. So if he gets to enjoy using it every day and he's proud of it, and when people come through to see it, he's like, look what I did. Yeah. Whereas if you have a lean team, they probably would have spent, $50, $100, bought something expensive that pretty much did the job, but he wouldn't have the pride of having figured it out himself and tinkered around. And we're not against spending money when it's necessary, but we want the people out there to do the best they can with what we have first. And if all their solutions fail and they're like, but this really bugs me, sure, we'll spend money and we'll do an expensive solution. But most of the time, if you just apply your brain and do some problem solving, it's not necessary, and you'll be way happier with the result you got if you did it yourself.
There was just so much stuff at his work cell. I can't even, I'm going to move on because otherwise I'm just going to talk about that. So we just answered the question, I think, for business owners out there who are saying, look, I want to do lean in my shop. I want more throughput. I don't want wasted efforts, which is the biggest flag everybody talks about. When they get on the phone with a business coach like me, I know they're going to talk about money and they're going to be frustrated with their crew because of wasted efforts. But it's just, we got to get a different pair of sunglasses on them to see it differently. So let's switch gears now to the owner who says, hey, listen, Lucas, if that's really your name, lean ain't going to work here, buddy. We're a custom shop.
Well, why doesn't lean work for a custom shop?
Well, because we're custom. Everything we do is different.
But see, lean is about applying the principles of building a culture of people that fixes what bugs them. It's not about doing exactly what the book says, that Toyota says that they do on their assembly line. Yeah. Lean works for everyone, everywhere. You can apply it in the office. You can apply it at home. Like, when you create a culture of lean, like, people actually start having a happier home life because they go home and they start applying these concepts at home. And all of a sudden their wife's like, wow, why is our house so organized? And why do we make dinner? And, 2/3 of the time, and we have time to watch TV now. Like, yeah, it's a culture of just having people fix the little things that bug them. Mm-hmm. And just because it's custom doesn't mean that you're not doing similar things all the time that you can cut down the waste on.
Yeah. Can I tell you a funny little story?
Yeah.
'Cause I'm a big fan of funny little stories. I introduced lean lean principles to my son getting ready for lacrosse because the pain of driving all the way to the field and him saying, "Dad, I forgot my elbow pads." I'm like, buddy, what are you doing? We're not doing this again. So now we just call it head to toe. He stands at the back door and he has to do a head to toe. And head to toe is he just goes through his equipment list from his head, his helmet and all the gear. And it works like a charm so much that his buddies are doing it now too. Some of them, not all of them. There's still parents who are like, I got to go home and get the jersey. But there's little systems you can create that are kind of fun.
Yeah.
That just become, I don't know, ingrained or just part of what you do.
And what he's doing too is a big thing that Toyota believes strongly in, which is point and call. And they actually, when they're checking a part, they physically point at the thing they need to check that's a known defect, and they have to verbally say what they're checking out. So they're like, corner, check, tab, check. And the fact that it's visual and physical and you're just pointing and checking makes you catch stuff that, like, if you're doing it 100 times a day, you totally miss because you're just overconfident. You're like, yeah. But when you actually have to point and call, you find it.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I applied the same thing to my mountain biking and running setup and did the whole, leaned out my whole setup. And so when I get home, I can drop off all my work stuff, grab all my biking stuff, and be in the car on the way to the trail in less than 10 minutes now. And it used to be like 30 minutes and I'd forget something.
You just got it dialed in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting you refer to that as point and call. Was that?
Yeah.
So one of the places, and you know this because you guys deal with tons of cabinet, everybody in the finished wood trades, but we have so many issues with stuff going out the back door, not as a complete order, even though the gable end is just over there. It didn't make it onto the truck, right? Or the kicks or something, accessories. It's just ridiculous because the cost of a go back, first, the frustration level, letting down the customer is just horrible, right? But that process, what's it called again? Call and check? Point and call?
Point and call.
Point and call. Can you imagine? I want everybody out there to imagine this. Your person at the shipping dock who's got a clipboard and they point and call and they're like corner cabinet, uppers, lowers, and obviously more detail than that, and saying it out loud, and they're going to catch something. They're going to look at their manifest and go, oh yeah, we missed all the kicks.
Mm-hmm.
Go get them now.
Mm-hmm.
Not after the truck goes into traffic, crosses 3 toll bridges, gets pulled over by the cops for, speeding. Like we need this all taken care of in advance.
Yes. And it's stuff like that that's the lean philosophy and the lean culture, just teaching people those principles and how to do that makes such a big difference. And so, like, yeah, the Toyota way and Toyota production system is about running an assembly line, not something custom. Mm. But there's tons of car manufacturers in the world, right? And they're all running assembly lines.
Right.
So what's the difference between Toyota, the lean manufacturer, and everyone else? The biggest difference is when I was there on their line, they have a whole check station at the end. So as the car's coming off the line, there's like 8 people checking every little thing on the car, every gap on the door, make sure it's perfectly perfect. And, if anything's wrong, they won't send the car out. They'll pull it aside and they have to fix the defect. As we all know, fixing defects after you've made something is 10 times the cost of doing it the first time, right?
Yeah.
But so at the end of the Toyota line, we asked them, so, okay, you're checking all these cars. Where are the ones that didn't pass? And they pointed over there and they're like, that's the one from yesterday. Whereas most manufacturers, they have that same check and they have a whole driveway straight downstairs to their room of 1,000 cars or something that all failed and have to get reworked.
Oh, yeah. We'd hate to have that. Well, we do, though. I mean, especially for an owner, it's an incredible amount of frustration just running day-to-day operations. Like, there's no use sugarcoating it. We get pulled in 1,000 directions. Everything's urgent. Everybody needs a piece of our time. And so now when you've suddenly got stuff piling up in the shop because it's wrong, made wrong, engineered wrong, just wrong in any way, there's rework. We just smell the money burning.
Oh, yeah.
It's not fun.
No, it's not. And so the lean culture is about everyone taking pride in their workmanship and checking that what they did is 100% right before they pass it on to the next person so that you don't have that. And just teaching ideas like point and call and getting everybody involved in that and everyone involved in making little improvements so that they can enjoy what they're doing and take pride in it.
Yeah. Something we don't talk about enough on this show is something you just mentioned a few minutes ago, which was lean or efficiency can be applied in the office. And in a second, I'm going to ask you for an example of that, but I'll give you a moment to warm up your mind. For everybody listening, I want you to separate your shop operations into just a couple of simple areas. Before the CNC, after the CNC, and then after the shipping door. So just think about those 3 areas of your business. We can obviously go into more detail in each of those, but just think about before the CNC, after the CNC, and after the shipping door. So now I'm going to go back to Lukas. Tell us a story or an example of something you've done in the office that, office work is office work. So that's easily transferable for all of us. How can we introduce lean before the CNC?
I mean, there's honestly so many ways. And like I said, lean is not just about efficiency. It's really about service to the customer too. Yeah. So having standards of how to provide the best service, that is lean, but it's about having a standard everyone follows. There's so many things for efficiency you can do in the office too. There's so many tools on your computer. There's even, in lean, we talk about something called 3Sing or 5Sing, which is basically sweep, sort, and standardize. And it means getting rid of, and usually we're talking, physical tools, the tools you don't need that are in your way, because when you have tools you don't need, you're just reaching around them, and the ones you do need are harder to find. And then sorting, so getting a place for everything so that every time you reach for the Phillips head, it's in the exact same place, right? And then standardizing it, labeling it, making sure it stays that way. Well, the amount of 3Sing you can do on a computer, I guarantee every person here watching could go spend 1 hour in their computer organizing files and folders, getting rid of stuff that they don't need, and they wouldn't even be part of the way through it. So that's lean in the office. And then, we do stuff like color coding days of the week, orders for days of the week, or different types of orders for different customers get printed on different colors of paper so that they're clearly visually easy to do. But it's just, people love to say you can't do lean in the office because lean's for manufacturing, but
it's not.
Dead wrong.
lean is, as you've said so many times here, lean's a mindset and it's a culture. And lean's just a word. It's not capitalized. It's not an acronym for anything. It's just lean, like just removing all the waste, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't want to put you on the spot as you drink your soda, but you just made me think in the office of file revisions, like version 1, version 2, version 3 of things. Do you guys introduce file naming standards in the office to make sure that has consistency?
We actually try to mostly not have too many files that need standards. We use programs where all the data is stored in a management program that keeps it organized. And so the program has kind of created the standard, if that makes sense.
Right. So you don't have to have version control or things like that. It's automatically updating.
Right.
Yeah. Because that is one of the challenges. You've got version control, you got change orders, and then you have to attach it to a file. And that in itself, I would just challenge everybody listening to spend a few minutes in your office just coming up with a way to standardize that one thing.
We have a saying about improvements in lean. And the saying is there's 2 steps to making an improvement. Step 1 is create a standard. Step 2 is improve the standard. So until you've made a standard and everyone is doing the same thing, you really can't make an improvement because not everyone will do something different and benefit from.
Right.
And so, to go back to the bathroom, that's why the first thing we have everyone do is clean our bathroom, is because I hope everybody has cleaned a bathroom at least once in their life before they walk into FastCap.
I have. Yeah.
The point is not, can you clean a bathroom? The point is, can we teach you a standard procedure and have you follow the standard exactly?
Right. Yeah. I have to laugh because I somebody called over their shoulder as we went in to clean the bathroom. In the men's bathroom, leave the toilet seats up. It saves a second or something. And I'm like, oh my God, that's heaven. That's Shangri-La. We don't have to put the seats down in there. Just leave them up. And actually, you guys had urinals as well, which I thought was part of it. You had a good mix of both, but it was called out to us. Leave the seats up in the guys.
Yep, that's what a lean will do for you.
Yeah, so many culture things that you guys had going there. I think, and really, I thought we were going to see lean manufacturing in place, but what I saw was culture.
Yes.
What I really saw was the people in the culture, to the point where if somebody came in and wasn't into it, they probably just wouldn't come back on Tuesday.
I mean, yeah, and that's why we do the test day, because if people aren't into wanting to be part of that culture, we don't want them to want to come back, and we want them to come all day and see that,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, fostering the culture, it's the hardest part, but the most important part, and it's really the basis of lean. You can take lean so many different ways as long as you just foster a culture of people who want to improve and are empowered to improve. I think the
Yeah.
hardest part for a lot of leaders and owners is that empowering and letting people struggle and fail, especially, someone who's built an entire company and they know what they're doing and they look at what that guy's doing over there and they're like, but I can do it better. And so just stepping back and saying, you know what? No, he will be able to do better too if I just let him struggle and I let him fail. If I just step in and do everything, I'm going to be running around with my hair on fire. Everybody's going to need me constantly, and I'm not going to be able to do it all. And if you really empower and trust those people, let them struggle and fail a little bit, let them grow, all of a sudden you'll find that you have more time and you can do more important things.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
It is hard. It's hard because we're busy, and it's hard to take a coaching style of leadership where you allow, you give somebody the framework and allow them to fail and then adjust. When you just do it this way. I got other things to do. Just fix it. I've done this a million times. I'll tell you how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But what crawls into that is our bias. I had an example where an owner who had started on the floor, like so many people do, he actually turned down the throughput on the new edge bander because he knew he was a rock star and nobody could exceed his speed. And so he turned down a new edge bander to meet his speed, which was his standard for fast. But the tech or whoever came in and said, "Why do you guys have this thing neck down so much? Just turn it up," right? He's like, "Well, nobody could ever edge band that fast." He's like, "This machine can go 3 times that fast. What are you doing?" So it was the owner, to your point, it was the owner's mind. It was the owner's old, I used to do this in the 90s mentality, that he introduced a bottleneck because the limitations on his own ability are old. It is what it is, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one of the biggest things that some top ex-Toyota leaders had to really try to push down my throat last time I was in Japan.
I appreciate the honesty, by the way. I'm loving this.
I struggle with the most. But the way they put it was, if you want to be a good leader, you can't be the easy button. If someone comes to you and you're just like, yeah, do this, and you become their easy button, they will never learn themselves. So when they come to you with a question, you should respond with more questions and lead them to the answer and, make them figure out how to figure it out themselves.
Yeah.
Don't be the easy button. I'm working on it. I promise.
We all are. We talk about this. We run foreman training here. There's a lack of training for foremen in our entire industry. So we brought it back and bolstered it up a lot. And there's a method we have called the 1-3-1 method. Right? The 1-3-1. When somebody comes to you with a question, simplify it down to one clear question. Right? Because sometimes people come to you, it's this big schlob of a thing, right? So clarify, what's the one question we're really trying to solve? The edge bander is stuck. Just say that, right? Or let's use an old version. The glue pod is burned out, right? Okay. I'm going to say, Lukas, tell me 3 things we can do. Give me a couple of ideas. And you'll go 1, 2, and 3. It's like pulling teeth in the beginning.
Oh.
But it's the culture, the same as the Toyota culture is, after I've shown you that that's the way the thought process is going to go, after a week of coming to me and I keep simplifying it down to one question, asking you for 3 options, pretty soon in your work cell, you're like, I can go ask Rubino, but he's going to say, boil it down to one question, give me 3 options, choose the best one. And I want you to do that. I want you to be making fun of me. That's the 1-3-1. And we teach that in the foreman training, because to your point, I can't be the bottleneck. I can't be the superhero button. They've got to learn.
Absolutely. I love that.
It's a week of pain. It's a week of pain of getting everybody on that system. One of the most common questions that you probably get when people interview you about lean, and even Paul's been on the show a bunch of times. By the way, he's the only guy who's been on my show who's played guitar the entire time. certainly the only guy who played guitar in Costa Rica after just coming in from kite surfing. Guaranteed he's the only guy to stack up those three things. But I think one of the most common lean questions that you would get is, where do I start?
Well, I think we already answered that. The toilet.
I love it.
But really, no, that's really is our philosophy. Is the bathroom is the easiest place to start creating standards, teaching people to follow standards, and teach people to make improvements. And make a standard process sheet and 3S everything. We have beautiful little cleaning buckets. Everything's labeled, organized, cut into foam, and it's like you can't really do anything wrong in the bathroom, right? We're cleaning a bathroom, so it's a great place to get people empowered to like, hey, I can make a change, and hey, that is better, and start to get them excited about making improvements.
Yeah, it's also a place to gut check, because I have heard in other shops where somebody on the floor says, yeah, I ain't cleaning the bathroom. And we have to make a decision. That person, we need to have a side talk with them and keep helping them along. But at some point, that person's not going to fit on this new team.
And, I wasn't at FastCap when Paul first started doing lean manufacturing here. But I know that he did lose a number of people, maybe like 20 or 30% at least of his employees. And what he says about it is what he learned after is that he's so glad he lost those people, because they were the people that were like a cancer to the organization. And they were the ones with that bad attitude who just wanted to come, clock in, and get paid for doing the very minimum they could possibly do all day. Right. And they kind of dragged everyone around them down too. And they're just, negative talk all day, every day. And I hate this task. Why do we have to do this? And, look at the boss up there, that kind of person.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of having to lose those cancers is helpful. And so someone that refuses to clean the bathroom, it's okay until the leader goes in and says, you know what, this is what we're doing. I own the company. Watch me clean the bathroom. Now you clean the bathroom.
Right.
You have to lead with your back. You can't just tell them, we're firing the janitor. You guys are all cleaning the bathroom now, right?
And it's not about firing the janitor. It's about a new right? If I'm listening to you, it's about a new culture in the company.
Right.
In the military, they use a term, and it's called a force multiplier. Some of you have heard of it, I'm sure. It's something that makes a team more powerful than their numbers would suggest. Sometimes it's better gear, sometimes it's strategy, but most often it's a strong leader. 10 soldiers with the right leader can beat 50 without one. And your shop's no different. Without leadership, you've just got a bunch of bodies swinging hammers and sweeping the floor. But with a trained foreman, your crew becomes a unit, a solid unit that gets the job done right the first time. That's how the military stacks the odds in its favor every single time. And that's what Foreman 101 is. It's leadership training for the people who multiply your results, your foreman, your supervisors. Think about this for a second. If you had a well-trained foreman, I'll bet you could finally make it home for dinner on time, right? Because your force multiplier is your foreman, and your foreman's tool is leadership training. Get on the wait list for the next free info session. Just text me at 206-208-7581 and say foreman training. We'll get you on the list.
But it is important that the owner, the leader, all the top people in the company, they go and do it first. And so if you're an employee and you've seen the owner and all the other top leaders go clean the bathroom, and then they go to you and say it's your turn, and then you say no, then you're clearly a cancer and you should go.
Yeah, then you have to go. Yeah, we have a formula. It's called the revenue responsibility per hour, which is it's very simple math. The economic is Ricardo's law of comparative advantage. That's the actual economic principle, but we call it revenue responsibility per hour. Just take your top line sales, and for the sake of me doing math on my fingers, $1 million a year, right? Okay. And then say, how many hours a year do you work? And I know this is going to be low, but 40 hours a week times 50 weeks, about 2,000 hours. So now I know the owner's revenue responsibility per hour is $500 per hour. Just very simple math, right? The economic construct, everything, it all works, right? Mm-hmm. So when I've got bad attitude Andy, who takes 2 hours of my management a week, dealing with him and remanaging him, and then all the shrapnel of all the people he's offended and all the problems that come up, 2 hours a week, that guy's costing me $1,000 a week, right there. And everybody listening has bad attitude. I hope you don't have bad attitude, Andy, on your team. But if you do your own math. Do your own math. And the value is right there. Do we keep the guy who says, I'm not doing the toilets, even when you as the owner do them? I'll do the toilets in my own company if it makes it better for everybody.
Yep.
Right? I have to be willing to do it as well. And you're going to just the incredible improvements in the company and the morale and the culture. Yeah. All right, let's get off toilets for a second.
Okay.
Let's do some fun stuff. What would be a visual control, like some sort of visual tool that I could put in place that might add a little bit of fun or like really interesting angle to throughput on a shop floor?
I mean, there's so many. It's, the thing with lean is the best answers are so different from shop to shop.
Yeah.
And so that's why, you can visit us at FastCap. I can go visit Toyota, but if you try to copy exactly what anyone's doing, like, it's not going to work for you. But, we really like color coding lots of things.
I saw that. Yeah. You guys have lots of color coding.
Yep. We like lights that go off but every improvement, like, it depends who did it, what they kind of find the fun part of it. But color coding is great because it prevents you from thinking. You never have to remember numbers. You just have to remember the blue one, right? That's so much easier than the 5x7x19 and, right. But the point is to let everyone have their own fun with it and, make their improvements fun like that.
Yeah.
Is there anything you saw here you were thinking of in particular?
I've seen so many different things. I've seen where when somebody goes through a certain station, they stack up a certain amount of poker chips. So everybody's got poker chips, and then when you do, let's say you add all the accessories to a cabinet door, just as an example. So you take one poker chip and you put it in another little box. You take it from one box and the other, and then for every 10 poker chips, you get a dart, and that dart lets you throw it at a balloon on the wall, and you get a soda. But what you get in, this one's a Coke, and this one's a Pepsi, and this one's a 7-Up, and this one's an Orange Crush, whatever, like goofy things, but people get into it.
Oh yeah. I love that idea.
Just get into it, right? And you've heard all the different, taking ping pong balls and numbering them and pushing them with air through a PVC tube, but just stuff like it. Just your only limitation is your creativity. But I got to tell you, I'm not going to come up with the best idea. My crew is.
Yeah,
it's got to be safe.
Sometimes
it's got to be safe.
I've let people at least try things that I didn't think would be the most safe, and if they could figure out how to make it safe, I was going to be allowed okay with it. But, we have scooters here at FastCap.
I saw that. That's good. Well, you've got some serious square footage there. How big's the FastCap warehouse?
Oh, I should know that number off the top of my head.
It's got to be over 20. It's maybe 30.
I think it's about 30.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. You have scooters.
Yeah. So the scooters allow us to, get around faster and not have to walk so far. And some people prefer to just walk really fast because, they have their smartwatch and they want their steps per day. It's okay. You're not required to use a scooter, but most people enjoy them. They're fun, especially when you really need to go pee. Like, it gets you there a lot faster, right? We had a guy one time who's like, well, we have carts for picking our orders and, assembling everything together. So he wanted to figure out how to mount his scooter to the cart so he could scoot the cart around. Seemed like a horrible idea, but we let him try it. He almost made it work. He couldn't get it to steer right. But.
Couldn't corner. Actually, something that was interesting on your carts was somebody had attached a magnet on a string to stop the sheet from flying away. Tiny little improvement.
Oh, it makes such a difference.
I looked at it and I'm like, okay, that's smart. That's genius. That one there, that goes right up there like Kaizen foam, like where you've got a movable piece of what would you call it? The order form. Somebody's picking something. You don't want it to get knocked off or a little breeze or somebody brushes by. You just have that magnet holding it to the cart. It's fantastic.
The best part about those little improvements too is like anybody can come up with that idea. Anyone, day one, any age could say, look at the paper flying off the cart. Like, let's put a little magnet.
Yeah.
And when they do that one simple little improvement, it brings them so much joy because now literally everyone in the company gets to use their improvement. And it's like, whoa, this is cool. Oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like,
I've got an idea.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what we want, is everybody to have an idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, geez, I don't know where to go from here. We've covered a lot of ground. We really have. When you look at the future, like where you guys have gotten to with lean and all of the things you're doing, are you guys done, or what's next? Like, what are you trying to do in the company to make it even more smooth? Because that's all you can describe it as. It's a smooth operation.
It always looks smooth, but the longer we just keep doing the little things, like it really gets smoother and smoother and smoother. And like my number one sales pitch for doing lean manufacturing is, I think it was about 2 years I'd been working here after I started. And one day we had the biggest sales we'd probably had since I started at the company. And I looked at my watch as I walked out the door, and we have this philosophy where we'll work long because our goal is to get every order for the day out that day. And so if we get a big orders day, people will stay late, get every order out, make the customer happy. And then, if the next day we have less orders, we'll get to leave a little early to make up for it, right? And so I looked at the sales number and I looked at my watch as I'm walking out the door. And I'm like, it's 3:40. 2 years ago, I would have been here till 4:45 or 5. So would everybody, to get that many orders out the door.
Nice.
And there was no one big thing that happened. It was just the accumulation of all these little improvements. I was like, I actually think we have like 1 or 2 less employees than when I started too. And we did that number.
And you still hit the number.
So you don't see it right away, but it works. And it's those little things stack up. So, as a leader, as an owner, you always have big visions of where the company needs to go and different machinery we want to buy, increase our manufacturing capabilities, all these things. But as far as lean, we just want to keep the culture afloat of everyone coming up with their own ideas so that every 2 years, all of a sudden, boom, what happened?
You've reinvented the company, right? Your company today would kick butt on the company 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Side by side. The same company, same square footage, same everything, but you're just more efficient now.
Yep. And one of our FastCap principles, we have 21 principles. We go over one each day in the morning meeting, so everyone knows them. And one of our principles is that being successful at FastCap is a result of never being satisfied. So you can look at us and say, we're great at what we do. People want to come tour us, but you can't be satisfied with that. So our goal is to keep the culture alive and to keep those little improvements just constantly flowing, no matter what our big goals and visions might be.
Yeah. I think without you having said that, I recognize that when I mentioned the gentleman in that work cell that had the PVC pipe as a solution. And I said, I know he's not done. He's still going to be thinking about it. There's still going to be something that he can do to improve that work cell, even though that looks like the most brilliant, simple, I don't know how to say it. It's as simple as a door stopper. It's just so simple. You'd have to see it in place to do that. I don't know if you're allowed to answer this question, but what's the most popular entry product when somebody you can see, because you guys sell products, right? You sell products that help people do cabinetry and woodwork faster, smarter, better. What's the entry product? You see a new company coming in, they bought their first lean product. What is it?
Well, most people discover us because of the FastCap, which is why we're called FastCap. So
right.
The peel and stick wood cover caps that screws. And so most people come across those and then go on our website, and then they discover we have, over 1,000 different SKUs of all sorts of fun things to help them out.
Yeah.
But I'd say one of the ones that people usually pick up first when they start becoming a regular customer is our tape measures. Because our tape measures have 8 different features that no other tape measure has.
Oh, okay.
Super, super affordable.
Yeah.
So they'll go on our website and start buying caps, and they're like, oh, well, look at that tape measure. I want to try that. And then come back for 8 tape measures.
Yeah.
And then our speed braces are incredibly popular too. They're steel countertop braces, but without the big kick that you usually see.
Oh, okay.
You have Revi and you have the big kick. Ours just have a nice U shape that's nice and hidden out of the way of your knees and have cord management and stuff like that. So those are extremely popular too.
Cord management. Oh my God. That's a topic on its own. I'm looking at my desk right now. It looks like somebody spilled spaghetti everywhere. It drives me nuts.
Hey, you better 3S it.
I better 3S it.
Because, you're going to go replace your monitor someday when you get a nice new monitor, and how long is it going to take you? And you have to go through all those cords. That's lean. That's lean in the office right there.
Yeah. It's like, so
cords, wrap them up neatly.
To my credit, everything's labeled.
That's good.
Everything's labeled. I've got it all labeled, so I know when a cord comes out or has to be reset, where it goes, where it comes in. So that part I've got. But the cords themselves, it drives me crazy just seeing the cords. And it's all unused desk space.
Yeah.
because I've got hubs and cords and adapters, and then I've got. I'm not even going to get into it because we're here to talk about cabinetry, not.
We're all about tying the wires up, and we actually have a product we sell called FastCap. It's a two-sided Velcro, and I absolutely love it for cord management because when you do need to go pull one cord out and redo it, you're not trying to cut like 20 zip ties and then re-zip tie.
Oh, right.
Open up the Velcro, pull the one cord out, close it right back up. It's so much better.
There's so many of these improvements, and listen, let's do this now. If people want to find out more, how do they find you? And, obviously, and some people may not know about FastCap or Paul's books. Can you give us sort of a wide sweeping range of people who are interested in this conversation and want to find out, what they can do?
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, we have a website with all our products. So it's just www.fastcap.com. So you're welcome to go look there, look at everything that we have. And we have some links to different lean videos and resources and shop tours. You can actually take a full virtual tour of our entire shop and see all of our improvements in video on our website. If you have any questions for me in particular, you can feel free to reach out to me. My email is just lucas@fastcap.com. That's LUKAS @fastcap.com. And then if they want to explore more down the lean rabbit hole and really get into it, Paul Akers, the owner of FastCap, has his own website, which is paulakers.net. And on there is a year's worth of university classes
in every language, by the way.
Yes.
In every, like, if you say, well, we can't do it because we have Hispanic. No, he's got it in Hispanic. You say, well, we can't do it because some of our guys are Malaysian. He's got Malaysian. I think he's got Estonian. I can't even count. There's Japanese.
He's got languages. I can't even pronounce the name of the language.
Yeah, he's just done it in all the different languages.
But yeah, so he's written a number of books, 2 Second Lean being his most popular. And they're all available on his website as well. And they're also all available on his website for free to listen to. So you don't even have to go buy 2 Second Lean to listen to it. You can go paulakers.net. You can get the free audio on there.
No friction. No friction. I noticed that setting appointments with both yourself and Paul is super lean. It's just lean. Like, it's just like, do this and then let's meet, and you guys have a couple of filters there to make sure the wackos don't get through, but I got through. So, there's that.
This was pretty lean too. I think you got it down too.
We try to always make it smoother and better. One of the things I like to say is everything we do is written in stone, but it's written in sandstone, right? So all of our processes are fantastic, but they're all up for debate, all of them. Because you just can't say that's the way we do it here. Well, that's the way we do it here today.
Yep.
But it's not how we're always going to do it here. And that's continuous improvement. That's always being willing and open and creating that culture in your company. You guys have done a great job. I just can't say enough about it. And do me a favor and say thank you to everybody that took us on that tour, because you guys just kept working while we were on the tour. It was fantastic. Nobody really slowed down.
Absolutely.
Besides, you had us to clean the kitchen. So
that phrase you just said, that's the number one phrase that's the death of a company, is because that's how we've always done it. And, one of the best ways to start doing lean, if you're walking around your shop, is just go up to everybody who has any process that they're doing and say, why do you do it like that? And don't accept because that's how I was taught or that's how it's always been done. Make them actually think about why. If you can literally come up with a why for every single thing that you do, you're on a good track. But I bet you will find 5 million things to improve by the time you can say why for every single process you have.
Yeah. And that's how it starts. Just pick one of those things and change it, get some momentum, do the fun stuff like I talked about, and that you talked about. There's so many of them. Just start being a student. I mean, it's not like Paul's books are going to cost you money. They are free.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And all the videos on his website too. You can literally get better than a college degree in lean manufacturing for free on his website.
Yeah. So, Lucas, thank you so much. And there's something I should share with everybody here, because now it's going to lock it down with you. On our pre-interview, I asked, could I come down and work at FastCap for a day for free? And then if I could have a videographer there to help me, we could turn that into a series just to show everybody what it was like at FastCap for the day. I'd love to do that if that's still on the table. It'd have to be sometime next year because I'm booked out with all sorts of things, and you probably need a lot of advance notice to have some wacko to come and just stand in your shop. But I would love to do
advance notice because we have good processes. But yes, happy to have you. That would be awesome to do.
That would be fun to do, and be good to see you again. Go for lunch. All right. Thanks, Lucas.
Thanks, Dom.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well. Lukas Holland, thank you so much for being a guest on our show today. Really great insights. I so much appreciate everything you've done, not only for us here on the podcast and sharing your knowledge, but for the industry. I know that you guys do tours from time to time. I was lucky enough to be on one of those tours. I was actually on the crew. My job was to clean the kitchen, I think I was talking about earlier. But everybody got a job when we got there, and we got to feel and work inside a lean environment. Now, a lot of people think lean and cabinetry don't go together or it won't work in their situation. And I got to tell you, in all of the nicest ways, you are 100% wrong. Let me explain why. Lean is not about making you work harder. It's not about making you work faster. It's about showing you how to work smoother and simpler and more consistently, right? It's also not a way to take shortcuts. It's also not a way to do all of the other things that people talk about. Lean's just a culture. It's a way of life. And once you get your head wrapped around it, and once your team does, things get so much better. And tune into my show and other shows and other episodes here. Listen to us on iTunes or here on YouTube for more information on that, because there's a lot around it. The other thing Lukas shared with us is how to create a standard and then improve that standard. So continuous and constant forward facing improvement. Systems don't have to be perfect, but we have to have a perfect way of improving our systems. Maybe that's a good way to say it. Just always looking at getting better. And you as the owner can't be the only one pushing that lead ball uphill underwater. Does that visual work? You know what I mean? Like, it can't just be you. We've got to get your team bought in on that. As a matter of fact, as we learned from Lukas, a lot of your greatest ideas will come from your team. Now, speaking about your team, did you know that we run foreman and supervisor training here? Absolutely. It's one of the things we're best known for. We train foremen and supervisors for you and with you. Now, if you want to be in that foreman training, you actually have to take part in an information call first. There are rules for how you get into foreman training, because it's not a come one, come all type of scenario. You have to attend an information call. Who has to be at that call? The owner and the foreman have to be there together, listening and watching. And what happens at the end of the call? Nothing. You hang up. But the expectation is that you and your foreman have a conversation. All we want to do is get the conversation started on your side. If you decide to do the foreman training, fantastic. If you don't, no problem, because we have to have buy-in from your team or nothing's going to change, which goes back to point number 2 we learned from Lukas. Create a standard and then improve the standard, right? Lean is a culture, not speed. We have to get our team bought into this. And our foreman is like a force multiplier for that. When we've got the right people on our team, it's not just us pushing the lead ball. By the way, if you want to be on the foreman training information call, because everybody has to come to the info call, send me a text message. My cell phone is 206-208-7581, and just say foreman training. Anyways, the third thing that I learned here from Lukas is to make quality and flow visible. Now, at first glance, that sounds hard. Like, how do I make flow visible? But I want to stick it in your head like a hot marble and have it roll around for a little while, making that funny smell and weird noise. Make quality and flow visible. Think about that. How can you make that happen in your shop? I'll tell you what, when you have a bottleneck in your shop and you've got rolling carts stacking up at a certain station, you've got no throughput, that's when flow is visible. But we could figure out some other systems to do that in a positive way, not just stacking up and we don't have anything going through for the day or the week or the month for that matter. All right. Look, folks, thank you very much for checking in. I really appreciate it. This YouTube video is just thin soup until the day that you and I have a chance to have a cup of coffee or maybe a glass of wine across the table from each other. And I look forward to that more than you will ever know. Until then, we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for checking in.